Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders are continuing their tour across America to fight oligarchy. I was lucky to see them actually do their speeches in LA this weekend. And then they went to Idaho, actually, obviously a deep red state. And one of the most surprising applause lines actually had to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Take a look.
We saw Marjorie Taylor Greene buy that dip. I got one question for her. How much did you make? How much did you make off of people's despair? How much did you make off that panic? How much did you make off of that suffering? No more. We can't accept it.
So there, AOC is talking about Marjorie Greene's big stock purchases when the stock market had gone down, when Donald Trump did all the damage he did. And we know it was significant. The way this is structured, they make the ranges that have to be reported comically large, and I feel like the law should be changed on that. So all we can say is that she poured between $21,000 and $315,000 in the stock market on the Tuesday and Wednesday of that week, investing in 17 companies, including Apple, Tesla, which had lost like 50% of its stock value. It didn't make sense to buy it at that point, considering that it kept going down. Nvidia and Palantir as well. And again, we only get the ranges of the purchases, but she certainly made a good amount of money. Stock market's obviously still down from where it was before Donald Trump started to shoot it in the foot over and over and over again. But it apparently was the same day as the great time to buy bleat that he sent out before doing the 90-day pause on the tariffs. Now, she says, back off, get off my back about this. She doesn't control her trades, which is only the thing that literally every politician ever has said when you question corruption in stock trading. She says she has a financial advisor to control her investments. Again, the fact that they're buying these stocks that had been dipping over and over and over again, it seems like insider information. I don't know for sure. And bear in mind, I don't think was one of those who bought like moments before the tariffs were paused like others. So I'm not sure that she's as obviously guilty as some of the others, but I do think it's worth bringing up. And I can say that from the LA version of AOC's speech, when she was talking about the stock trading and the corruption of it, that was one of the things that got the crowd fired up the most. And so I'm glad that she's focusing on that. Greene, by the way, has invested up to $285,000 in 17 different companies just on that 2-day period. That is a big infusion of money when nothing guaranteed that the stock market wasn't going to continue to crash as it had been at that point. Maz, what do you think about this?
Well, first of all, talk about insider trading. If somebody who owns a company tells their relatives, hey, I'm about to announce something that's going to shoot these prices up, buy now, that person would be investigated by the SEC and found to be involved with insider trading and possibly end up in prison for it. Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, went on his silly little social media page and moments before he announced that he's lifting the tariffs, and he said, now's a good time to buy. I mean, if that's not the king of insider trading, I don't know what is. He basically just gave a nod and a wink, do it now. So that's number one. Number two, in defense of Marjorie Taylor Greene, I never thought I would say those words. It actually made sense if you had money at the time to buy stocks. Because I have a friend of mine who's a financial advisor, and she was telling me that all of her rich friends, all of her rich clients, all of the millionaires that she represents were calling when the prices dove. They were calling her and buying those stocks at bargain basement prices. If I had had the money at the time, I would have bought Apple, I would have bought Amazon, I would have bought whatever, because it tanked. So it made sense to buy the stocks, because ultimately, no matter what happens, if you can write it out, the prices will come up. The more important thing to keep in mind is a majority of people that are middle class and lower class did not have the means to do that. A majority of people that were counting on that money for their 401k because they've retired, they lost that money. They weren't able to make money. So no matter what you say about the people on the right, on the net positive side that made money out of it, a lot of people lost money. A lot of people had to put off retirement. A lot of people counted on that money to come in. If you had a 401k and you were living month to month from the 401k to pay for your rent, You might not have the rent that month. You might not be able to afford your groceries. So, hey, Marjorie or whoever else made money, congratulations. You guys made a lot of money on these nonsensical tariffs that didn't need to be put in place, at least not the way that they were put in place. And meanwhile, the people that you represent, your constituents, suffered. And I hope that they realize that these people are getting rich while they are just dumping all over their own constituents.
I agree with you in principle that the market was down and so it's a good time to buy. It's just, it wasn't like one thing happened that put the market down and so we can assume that's the bottom. He kept doing thing after thing after thing that tanked it. And everything they were saying publicly was, these tariffs are here to stay. We're not backtracking. So there was really no reason to assume that soon they would go up, and they might continue to go down. So to buy at that particular, again, the market's down, people are going to buy. That's why I'm saying it's not as obvious as some of the people who bought literally moments before he announced it. I still think it's a little bit suspicious, and I think it's a good play from AOC regardless. But that's.
But I also think, John, real quickly, that the difference is if you have the money to be able to buy, whether it's at its bottom or in the middle of its bottom, ultimately the market will go back up. So once again, the rich got richer. The people who had money, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't know how much she's worth, but she's worth enough to be able to
over $20 million.
Yeah. So if she's got that money, so you didn't have to wait for it because you can't time it at the bottom. There's no way to figure out what the actual bottom's going to be. But if you have the money and you're looking at Apple stocks and you're going, oh my God, Apple, which is this crazy, once in a lifetime company, has just had its stock tank by 20-30%. Well, let me buy it because ultimately at some point it will come back up. So you have the money to ride it out. And that goes back again to the people that did not have the money to ride it out. So I understand what your point is as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I could identify it as a good time to buy necessarily. I couldn't drop $300,000 in it because I looked in my account and for some reason it wasn't there. If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at Tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.